It's Dan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
Notoriety Sports Network. Breaking news, live shows, unprecedented content. Notoriety Sports Network. Built different.
I'm passing the phone to my guy, a guy who thinks he's a Instagram model / influencer. Also thinks he could be a pro hooper, but can't really hoop at all.
I'm passing the phone to somebody that can't catch a cold, let alone a football, and they wear a do-rag every day with no results and no waves.
So I'm passing the phone to a guy who thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread and won't stop talking for anything.
I want to pass it to the person that's been with the Bucks forever. I want to pass it to the person that always try to make me do all his stuff. He always want to make me do all the reps. Y'all know who it is.
I'm passing the phone to somebody who got the biggest head in the universe.
I'm passing the phone to the man with the most jewelry on the team.
I'm passing the phone to someone who, although he's one of the greatest football players of all time, he may be one of the great dancers of all time and possibly one of the greatest singers of all time.
Hey guys, thank you for the nomination. That's why I was on The Masked Singer, because I got secret dance moves and secret singing skills. Or stop, collaborate in this sin. Refugees back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will every stop, yo? I don't know. Turn off the lights up and I'll glow to the extreme. I rock a mic like a vandal, light up a stage and wax it, jump like a candle. Dance. What's your speaker that booms, killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom? Thank you guys. See you later.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television here on a Friday night. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off the Sports Web here on this Friday night? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Fox 13 analyst, Mr. Ricky Reynolds, returning to the evolution of Sports Talk Television here live on I Love St. Pete. And of course, the Notoriety Sports Network at 9:30. I'll have my Tampa Bay Lightning insider for the Sports Web, Mr. Travis Faley, talking about, of course, your Tampa Bay Lightning. It is set, my friend, and I got to play this. Sunday at 3 o'clock versus the New York Islanders. So we'll get the latest from him. No late night with Leo tonight. He canceled, and Jason Powers is at a Rowdies game. So you know what that means. Get on the phone lines. If those guests come, if they don't, then we talk to you. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So without further ado, and of course, I'm always going to read your comments. You have the opportunity to text in. You have the opportunity to get on the phone lines and let your voice be heard here on the Sports Web. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get him on. It's been a long time since I've had him on. Let's go out to Mr. Ricky Reynolds. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. Long time no see. And I don't know where we start. I mean, do we start with the schedule? Do we start with, of course, the Bucs winning the Super Bowl? Of course, we talked about that. Ricky Reynolds, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
Doing great. And, woke up this morning, still the Bucs are Super Bowl champions, still world champions. And then we have a new audience here on the Notoriety Sports Network and I Love St. Pete. Give me your thoughts about the Bucs winning the Super Bowl, and then we'll get into that schedule.
Well, it's just an amazing feat, to have these guys come from what were they 7-9 the year before, just trying to put it together, just trying to put the right pieces in place to be able to, make a run, especially with having Brady back there at quarterback, to get into the playoffs. And not only that, but to be able to go all the way and win it is just a phenomenal feat. I really didn't expect it to happen this year, but, very pleased, and really excited for this year, because I know that this team has not, reached its, potential at all. So to be able to have these guys come back again, 22 starters coming back, to be able to put these guys on the field to play another full season. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what these guys can, what kind of level can they get these guys to play on, in order to, to be able to compete for another one. And I think they'll be right there.
How surprised were you, Ricky, that they basically brought everybody back? I mean, this hasn't happened in the salary cap era. It hasn't happened the week one starters since the 1979 Pittsburgh Steelers, who, by the way, won a Super Bowl. Of course, you have to go all the way back for your Super Bowl starters, 1977 Oakland Raiders. I mean, pretty amazing what the Buccaneer organization has done this year, right?
Oh, yes, it's definitely amazing. They did some awesome things in order to, keep this team together. It's just flat out amazing at the front office of what they were able to do. Just putting the team together, and it was all totally focused on trying to put a team around Brady to be able to go out and to win it as quickly as possible, and to be able to do it in your first year, man. It's just it's flat out amazing. Hats off to Jason Light and those guys in the front office to put this team together, and Bruce Arians and company and the coaching staff to be able to bring home the trophy. These guys did a tremendous job.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the schedule this year, it's not like the NFL, gave them any breaks. 5 primetime games here. Of course, the Bucs somewhat struggled last year to win their primetime games. But, of course, they start out with the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. Not the last 25 years, but still, that's their moniker. In your opinion, do you feel like the National Football League got it right for the Bucs to start out versus a Dak Prescott, a CeeDee Lamb, and, of course, an Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys coming to town at Ray J?
Oh, yeah. I mean, why not? I mean, yeah, you got Tom Brady here. You got, was it 5, big time games on national TV. So, I mean, yeah, you got to put them up against the best, and these guys want to have to go out there and compete against the best. They're the best team. They're going to get the best shot of everybody. I don't care who it is. They're going to get the best shot. So, let's see what these guys can do, see what they're made of. If they can click on all cylinders like I think they can, it's going to be fun to watch. It's really going to be a lot of fun to watch.
It's definitely going to be fun to watch. I tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines here. Let's go out to Curtis from Newport Richie. You're on with yours truly, along with former Buccaneer great Mr. Ricky Reynolds. What do you have to say?
I just want to say something. First of all, Ricky, hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now, listen, I know everybody's, excited about the 22 starters returning.
Right.
is 23. Don't forget about our kicker. Okay.
Well, there you go. I mean,
Because
of course.
because listen,
How could we
because
forget
listen,
about him, right?
dude, we've been having all these kicking woes for all these years, man. Let's appreciate the fact that we have a kicker that we can go out there and put some confidence in.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That was a big time key last year, right? Ricky, the kicker. I mean, Ryan Suckup was amazing, especially with the debacle the year before with the Matt Gay, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, he basically, especially towards the middle part of the year, I really didn't even think about the kicker anymore. Whereas previous years, I mean, anytime the kicker came out, you just praying that he would put it through the goalpost. But after a while, there was no worry at all. When Slocum, what's his name? when he came out, I had no concern at all that he was going to put it through the uprights, and he did a tremendous job, and it great pick, and they had to get him back signed up onto this team, and like the caller said, you had to have number 23. You just definitely got to mention him because he's a valuable piece of this.
Yes, sir.
Team.
Yes, sir.
Very valuable.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all a story about my kicking woes, and I'm gonna let y'all finish because I got the kids here with me tonight. It was so bad with our kickers that I used to pause the TV when the kickers came on, and then I would wait like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I would go live. So I would just miss the field goal. So when it came back from commercial, it'll be a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like watching the game. Like I was watching the game a couple years ago at Fergs. I'm out there with Al Keck, with the Bucks Report platform. We're covering the game against the Giants. That game absolutely kills me. You feel like Matt Gay, it's a makeable field goal, and then he misses it. And it's just like, it's so Tampa Bay Buccaneer. They've had field goal problems ever since they got rid of a Matt Bryant, who, by the way, is one of the most accurate kickers in the league, or was one of the most accurate kickers in the league. And the Bucs have had their problems. So definitely a godsend to find a suck-up last year.
That and the year we played, I think we played New England on a Thursday night in Tampa. I think it was in October.
Yep.
And Nick Folk missed like 4 field goals. I'm like, oh my.
Yep. Yep. That is absolutely a Buccaneer life, if you will, when it comes to field goal kicking before suck up, but absolutely very important signing by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The other thing I want to say is I've been watching the interviews of, the Mike Evans and the Levante David and the Devin White.
Mm-hmm.
I can appreciate the confidence they have in themselves.
Right.
But they're not just satisfied with winning last year.
Right.
They're these and these guys are still young. I mean Levante David, and Dominican Sue, JPP, those are the old guys on the defense. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
These guys are still hungry. These guys are still young. These guys are still hungry, and they want it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that has been the tone this week, Ricky. It's been the tone the last couple months. Even though we re-signed all the players, even though we won the Super Bowl, we still have something to prove this year. There's not a position on the field, besides quarterback that you're going to be, not competing for. There's going to be competition at all those positions. The Bucs are definitely handling it the right way, right?
Oh yeah, they're doing it the right way. Like you said, they're loaded with talent. But they're able to, get really good draft picks to come in to fill in as reserves, and add depth versus having to put them in there right away. So you're really starting to build this team the way you want them, it to be built up. And so, like you said, I'm really excited about, what they're doing and the positioning that these guys are in. And these guys are hungry, these young guys. They're just getting a taste of what it's like to be in the playoffs. Many of these guys have never even been to the playoffs. And so to be able to experience playing in the playoffs, winning, and, bringing home the gold, I mean, they want more, because it it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling, for us, and we were all sitting at home. But now to be able to have the fans in the stadium, man, it's going to be exciting for these guys. It's going to be very exciting this year.
And I got two more things for you guys. I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna go spend some time with the kids.
Sure.
The number one thing, well, the first thing I want to say is I'm waiting to see Carlton Davis. Depending on how his season goes this year, he's going to finally get some recognition.
Well, I think he got recognition last year. I mean, Ricky, would you agree that he's at least a top 10 corner, if not a top 5 corner? People always go back to the Tyreek Hill game and they say they got burned. But look, there's a lot of corners out there in the National Football League that are going to get burned versus a Tyreek Hill when you play him man up. So to Curtis's point, do you feel like Carlton Davis can take that next step and will get that pub and possibly make the Pro Bowl? And then, of course, he's a free agent, so he has everything to win or lose in 2021, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a guy that has built up the ultimate confidence in himself. I mean, he's continuously getting better week in and week out. And so, during this past few seasons, I think he's, like you said, really has built up enough confidence to where this year, I think he'll really break out. I think he's put everybody in the league on notice that he can play, And so this is the year he goes out and has that solid season. I believe he'll get a chance to make that Pro Bowl and get that recognition.
Well, I tell you what, Curtis, I got to let you go because I know those babies are crying for you. But, man, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you.
She's angry about something else. The only other comment that I wanted to say is
Go ahead.
Mike Evans said something the other day.
Yes.
And I feel like this is what makes this guy one of the greatest receivers in our generation. He said the other day, I think it was Joshua Cole Allen asked him the other day, how do you feel about his targets and stuff going down? And I love he said, what choice do I have? He said, but also what choice do I have? But why wouldn't I be happy to have other guys around me eating and that can be game breakers like, just like I can be. Mm-hmm. That guy, Mike Evans is like the receiver that everybody wants.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't put him. I mean, I think he's top 3, top 2 to me, and that's not even me just being Bucks biased. This guy goes out there, he plays injured. He goes out there, he busts his ass, he does what he has to do for his team.
Right.
And, he's not greedy, he's not selfish, any of that. And it's just, I wish other receivers could be like him. I really wish they could. But
Ricky, do you feel like he's underrated in this league?
Oh, he's definitely underrated. Here's a guy that's broke the record, 7 years in a row, over 1,000 plus yards,
Yeah.
And nobody's ever done that, and some of the things that Mike Evans has done around here has been flat out amazing. And he's very underappreciated around the National Football League, around the country. People just don't know about him, because this team has lost for so many years. And now they're, of course, winning and being on the national stage. Preferably he can have a big season this year, and everybody will know a little bit more about Mike Evans. He's definitely underrated.
And I think it comes with winning.
Shout out to Peter, because Peter, when we talked about this whole, God rest his soul, when Vincent Jackson died, we talked about how much Vincent Jackson meant to Mike Evans when he came to the Bucks.
Right.
Vincent Jackson taught that kid how to be a pro.
Correct. Because, there were some questions when he was drafted, there were some character issues. And sometimes that is, but that happens when you're young. And of course, when you get an opportunity to have a mentor like a Vincent Jackson, who has good numbers. Is he a Hall of Fame wide receiver? No, but he is that veteran presence, Ricky, that basically takes that guy under his wing and shows him how to be a professional. Talk about that a little bit. Thanks a lot, Curtis. I'm going to let you go, buddy. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
I'll call you guys later.
Yeah, definitely. Talk about the impact of a guy like a Vincent Jackson on a Mike Evans and kind of share your experience. Who was somebody that mentored you when you were in the National Football League with the Bucks?
Well, it was tough when I got into the league. I came in with Ray Perkins, and he got rid of all the veterans. it was a lot of young guys around there. So I didn't have many mentors at that time, especially in the defensive backfield. But one guy was a linebacker by the name of Jeff Davis, who's a guy that kind of took me under his wings, that had played in the league a little bit, just kind of taught me how to get out there and to perform on a high level. And the game was all about making plays. It was all about getting out there and making plays. And that's what's special about this team and about a guy like Vincent Jackson is that they built this team to where they have a bunch of young guys, but they have quite a few veterans on this team that can take these guys up underneath their wings and lead them and guide them and stroke them and help them to come along with their games. I think every position has a different type of veteran there, except for maybe the secondary. The secondary has been, pretty young, but other than that, they have a lot of veterans on this team, and it's important for these guys to be able to use their experiences to be able to teach the younger players how to play in this league, how to not go up and down with the emotions of the course of the game, how to play on the even keel, how to practice, how to prepare by watching films, just a lot of little things that veterans can teach that'll help young guys into preparing going into a game. And now these guys are preparing into trying to defend the national championship. And you have nobody else but Tom Brady that has been there, that's been able to do that and to be able to come in and teach these guys that. So they have a wealth of experience, and it's very important to have that on your team. And these guys have it. They have it.
Were you surprised by, and we're on with former Buccaneer great Ricky Reynolds, cornerback, who absolutely did a marvelous job on a Jerry Rice. Okay. Just look it up, kids, on YouTube. And of course, played for the New England Patriots, but we won't mention that. And of course, former Fox 13 analyst here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Were you surprised by Brady's comments this week of how he was dealing with this knee injury last April and still played at an elite level, over 40 touchdowns at his age? Kind of amazing, because if you think about it, Ricky, if that necessarily doesn't work out in the Bucs' favor, then people are saying, well, you got damaged goods. They knew it. Brady knew it, and still he was able to play through it. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Very, very surprised, especially with his age. It's hard enough to be able to move, especially at 40, to be able to move around with these 20-something-year-olds and to be able to get away from them and to, step up and to be as sly as he was, in the pocket and to play on the level that he is and to do it, with an injury is something to be said for Tom Brady, and how he was able to, perform, during the course of the season, and it's all in the head, it's all mental, and he was able to block that out and to be able to go out and to perform week in and week out, and he did a great job. It's amazing. I'm surprised by it.
I really am too, but look, the Bucs definitely stacked the deck with all the weapons. We go out to a question here. W. Thomas Corral, can Brady get 50 touchdowns this year? Much has been made. I feel like he's going to have a better grasp of this offense. Now you're going to have those extra reps that you missed out on with the pandemic. Can he actually get better? Can he throw for 50 touchdowns? Do you want him to throw for 50 touchdowns at this point?
Well, I mean, I'm sure he probably could. I mean, he has enough weapons. And like you said, if he is able to apply what he's learned about this offense and to learn, even more, it's going to be pretty dangerous. Do I want him to throw 50 touchdowns? I want him to score as many touchdowns as he can get, I I wouldn't be mad at them, and but I can see them, trying to mix up, the run and pass pretty well. I know they're going to try to establish that running game this year, and it's going to be important that they do that, and that's just going to make it easier for the pass. But it's hard to throw for 50 touchdowns, but with Tom Brady, anything's possible.
Who do you favor in this? Because, my choice, the victim of volume, and Ronald Jones only 22 yards short from 1,000, but you have Lombardi Lenny, who really went on a tear when Jones was hurt in that postseason. You have Keyshawn Vaughn, and then you also have a Giovanni Bernard. So who do you favor in this running back room? Is it Jones's job to lose, or do you think Fournette beats him out, or could we be shocked here with Vaughn and, of course, Bernard taking away carries and possibly being the starting running back of this team in 2021?
I believe it's going to be Jones' job to lose. I believe coming into camp here, he's definitely going to be the number one guy. I think everybody else has to come out and show that they are the number one guy in order to be able to unseat him at that top position. So I think it's Jones' job to lose. And the other guys have to come out there and show the coaching staff that no, I'm way better. I should be starting and should be getting more reps. So I think Jones is going to be the number one guy coming in.
All right, you got to say it then. You got to say it if you think Jones is the guy. Come on, I'll go ahead and put the string on. Go for
it. What am I saying? What am I saying, Peter?
The victim of volume.
The victim of volume.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Yes, sir. There we go.
That's the intro right there. Let's go back to the schedule once again. On with Ricky Reynolds, former Buccaneer, great Fox 13 analyst. Of course, they start out with Dallas. You have Atlanta the second game. Some people talk about the next two games here that could be very difficult for the Bucs. Going to LA, of course, site of Super Bowl 56 with the LA Rams and, of course, Matt Stafford. And then probably the biggest game of this year, all the hype, October 3rd against the New England Patriots on Sunday Night Football. How do you see this schedule, the first four games, working out for this Tampa Bay team?
They're gonna be tough, man. They're gonna be tough. They got a nice tight schedule there at the beginning, and so they got to be ready. I think that they have to go into training camp with the thought of maybe coming out and starting off relatively pretty quickly. Because they got some tough games ahead, and I'm sure they want to get in rhythm. But I'm sure the most important thing is that they finish strong. Mm-hmm. So I think these guys will come out ready to roll, and I think they'll at least win 3 out of the 4.
All right, I like that. And then you go Miami, which is an improving team, nearly made the playoffs last year, but still have a quarterback who, by the way, admitted that he didn't know the playbook last year, so he should be better off, hopefully. At Philadelphia on a Thursday night game, a lot of people see that as a trap game. Is that what you see? Thursday night football, we talked about it before. Players don't necessarily like it because you don't have your body. Your body's not able to rest. Could you see the Eagles kind of pulling a Chicago Bears kind of deal and upsetting the Bucs, or do you feel like still the Bucs talent-wise are a lot better than the Philadelphia Eagles?
Now, are the Bucs on the road in that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's now I know Thursday nights, the majority of the games won are by the home team because it's really tough.
True.
To travel on a short week. You don't get a lot of rest, and then you have to travel and go up and play. And most of the time, the visiting team is on the losing end of it. So that's one you definitely have to look out for. And the Bucs will be at a disadvantage, believe it or not. Even with the talent, because their bodies just won't be ready, and plus they have to endure the travel of it, whereas the Eagles will be at home. And they'll be tired too, but they don't have to travel.
They don't, but they have a young quarterback who you really don't know what to expect out of him in a Jalen Hurts. I'm not sure Philly has put enough around him. But like you said, it could be definitely a trap game. Of course, revenge. Chicago coming home at Raymond James Stadium. The next game at New Orleans. Nobody really knows. Who do you think is going to be the quarterback of that situation? Is it a Taysom Hill or is it a Jameis Winston? I kind of favor Winston at that point. I think he's a pure quarterback. Of course, if he can cut down on those turnovers, he can definitely make every throw in the NFL that you want. Can also make every throw that you don't want. So who do you favor in that matchup?
I would probably say Jameis Winston, and I'm thinking that they would probably want Jameis Winston just so that they can have the same situation that they've been doing the last few years here with Taysom Hill, and having him being able to fill in and come off the bench and to be a gadget player, and then having a combination of the two will be probably more of a threat than just having Taysom Hill back there at quarterback, to be able to switch out, here and there and to have some gadget plays with Taysom Hill will be ideal for them.
All right, let's go. Keep on continuing. Of course, they go into a bye week. They got to play the Saints on Halloween, by the way. Thanks a lot to the NFL. That's a crazy place. I can believe on a Halloween and the Big Easy. But you have the Washington football team, of course, the rematch from the wild card game. That's on the road once again. The Giants at home, which was a tough game on Monday Night Football, but once again, it's at Raymond James Stadium. At Indianapolis, at Atlanta, and then Buffalo. Everybody has kind of circled that Buffalo game because Peter King believes Kansas City's number one, which, by the way, King, did you watch the Super Bowl? Why does he have Kansas City over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? But he actually believes Kansas City, Tampa Bay, and Buffalo. How interested are you going to be in that Buffalo Bills matchup at the Ray J?
Oh, I'll be interested in it. I mean, Buffalo has a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent over there. Especially in that in the receiving room, and then also defensively. So it'll be a fun game to watch. And I want to see where we are about that time, especially offensively. I want to see what our offense can do against that tough Buffalo Bill defense.
Yeah, and of course that offense with Josh Allen, a young quarterback that's really coming into his own, a Stephon Diggs. To me, they're missing a running back at that point. We'll see how that works out. New Orleans next at Ray J, at Carolina. Listen to this schedule. This is kind of a cupcake, right? At the Carolina Panthers with their new quarterback and a Sam Darnold, at the New York Jets, and then they come home and play the Carolina Panthers. How many wins realistically? And some people are talking about this undefeated season. Where do you stand on that? Do you think there's certainly a possibility for them to go undefeated, or is that much tougher than it's probably the toughest thing you can do in the National Football League, right? Where do you stand on wins and losses for this team this year?
Yeah, I would say slim to none on undefeated season. Man, it is so hard to go 16 games and win every one and to be good at, every week. It's I would say impossible for a team to play on that high of level every single week. They're gonna have some weeks where they're gonna not play as well, and those are the weeks where teams are gonna have to try to beat them, and they'll have a chance, because it's too hard to play on that level 16 weeks, or 16 weeks in a row, or out of 16 out of 17 weeks. But it's gonna be too hard to do that. But they definitely can go through the season and only lose maybe 2 games. This team, as long as they stay healthy, can go out there and probably win 12 to 14 games with no problem.
All right, so you give me that final prediction. Which is it? Is it 12-5 or is it 14-3? Remember, 17 games now.
That's true. That's true. I forgot about that.
You're
17
games. You're on the
you really talk about it, no chance now. 17 instead of 16. Extra game in there.
If you had to play in this era, would you do player? Look, they get paid an extra week, but would you like to play 17 weeks? Some people are talking about 18.
No. Towards the end of the season, I mean, even the fans, we come to the point where we're starting looking forward to the playoffs. You know, you'll have so many teams that'll be out of it that won't even have a chance. You know, and then you have so many teams that are already in the playoffs. The last couple of games, you know, really don't matter most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, even with 16 games. So, you know, to me, it doesn't make any sense. You just putting these guys in a position where they're going to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? And you know, just like Peter, once you get towards the end of the season, you want it to get over with so you can get into the playoffs. You know,
right.
Because so I mean, now you add another game that don't matter. And there'll be a couple of games that'll count, but most of them won't matter at all.
So 12 or 14, what are you saying? Final prediction.
I'm gonna say they will win 13. How you like that?
I like it a lot because actually that's where I stand, 13-4.
Okay.
I like it a lot. Ricky Reynolds, thanks a lot for your time here on The Evolution. Definitely don't be a stranger. We'll be getting you on throughout the season. One final question. I looked at this. Did you actually you played in the Super Bowl with the New England Patriots, right? Or you were on that team in 96?
Yeah, Super Bowl 31. I had hurt my ankles a couple of times during that year. I had a high ankle sprain, my right ankle, like a fourth or fifth game of the year. And then I hurt the other ankle later on at the end of the year. And then, you know, I was hobbled. So I ended up starting about 11 games or something like that. And I didn't finish the season. I suited up and stuff, but I was really banged up. So I didn't get a chance to really play very much during the playoffs. I was in there probably for some special teams activity, but other than that, I didn't get in during that run.
What's it like to play for a Bill Parcells? Because you talked about Ray Perkins, and they were kind of close, and a lot of people felt like Ray Perkins was tough to deal with as a player with him being a coach. But what was it like with Bill Parcells? You know, consequently, he could have been the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he actually left the Bucs at the altar twice, and that started out in, I believe, 1991 or 1992 when he went on NBC Sports, and then you're playing for him with the New England Patriots. So what was it like to have Parcells as your coach?
Yeah, I'm probably all pro if he comes in, you know, if he had to come in that time, you know, because we would have been winning.
Yeah.
And I would have got a little bit more recognition, you know, then. But anyway, Parcells is tough, you know. You talking about Ray Perkins and Parcells, it kind of like almost like the same person, you know, because they're old school, you know, they're old school guys. They believe in practicing hard. They believe in you know, they believe in what they believe in, you know, and Parcells is one thing I say about him is he knows the game well. He knows the game. He knows how to read his opponents. He knows players very well, and he does a great job of putting his players in positions to be successful. He's a heck of a coach. He's tough. He's tough on you, and he works you hard, and you bang around a lot, but he knows how to win, and he gets it done.
I think there's a lot of Bucs fans out there that know and respect him as a coach. They just hate him because of leaving the Bucs at the altar twice. I mean, how do you do that, Ricky? Thanks a lot for your time here. Mr. Ricky Reynolds, former Buccaneer corner, Patriots corner, and Fox 13 analyst. We'll see you soon. All right, boss?
All right. Thanks a lot, Peter. We'll see you again.
There you go. Ricky Reynolds on here. I mean, that's a former football player in the National Football League on a Friday night. You got to love it. I got to fire the cannon. And don't think he's going to be a stranger. And don't think that's done. Don't think I'm done talking to former football players, because I like to get that perspective. And I'm not scared of that perspective. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to the comments, and then we'll get out to Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment talking about your Tampa Bay Lightning. In fact, I'll tell you what. Let's just go out to the phone lines. I'll read the comments in just a little bit. Todd, welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Long time no hear, my friend. What do you have to say?
Hey, how you doing, Peter? Good to see you back on, and hope you're doing well and the family's doing well.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to talk a little bit about the schedule. I think I talked to some of the other guys about it, and listen, our schedule. You got to remember something. We opened the season Thursday night against Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
and we got a nice little mini bye there, and then we play Atlanta at home.
Right.
And we go on the road to play Philly on a Thursday night.
Sure.
And then we have another little mini bye there. And then I think we get ready for Chicago at home.
Correct.
And then we have the bye week,
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 weeks later.
After the Saints game on Halloween. Yes. Either
Yes.
with Jameis Winston, who I think is going to be the eventual starter for the Saints, or Taysom Hill. But I think it's going to be Winston. I think Winston gives him the best opportunity to win if and only if he can cut down on the turnovers, because we know that the kid can make every throw in the National Football League. The Saints do have weapons, although they have lost a lot on that team, which we'll discuss in the future. But how do you see this schedule? Do you like it? 5 primetime games?
I like the schedule.
Okay.
And then, we after that New Orleans game, we get 2 weeks to get ready for Washington. We go on the road to Washington.
Right.
And I think the schedule, especially at the end of the year, I think the schedule really favors us. And when we're signing everybody back and we get all these kids that we drafted, and there's absolutely no pressure on them whatsoever. They can learn from all the veterans, Tryon, Kyle Trask, and I'm hearing absolutely unbelievable things about Jalen Darden. So I'm really excited about that kid. So we are loaded at receiver and tight end. We're loaded.
And you have to feel good about Darden because, it came out just a couple of weeks ago that Brady was recruiting wide receivers. Oh, by the way, Packers, that's how you do it. You tell your franchise quarterback to recruit a wide receiver to make him happy because he's your franchise quarterback. I always tell guys, I always relate relationships with sports. You want to get a woman to, basically commit to you, tell her you want her to be your franchise quarterback. And what that basically means is you do everything in your power to build around that player or that person, if you will. And that means rolling out the red carpet. And that's exactly what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did during the draft process.
Well, they rolled out the red carpet for Tom Brady as well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yes.
Absolutely. Look at the talent we have. And that's what Aaron Rodgers is that's his beef. I mean, the GM up there and the president of the Green Bay, they have not done him right.
No.
And they have not drafted any receivers for him. They've got Adams and they've got Jones in the backfield, and then they got this tight end that's pretty good now. Aaron Rodgers made him a name this past year. So, but that other than those 3 guys, who else do they got? I mean, not a lot.
Not much, and not much on defense, but you're exactly right. Could you imagine that they drafted a wide receiver instead of the future quarterback of that team? And I get it. Rodgers has been a part of that. He came in when Favre was there. He was drafted as a first-round player. He should have known, but still, at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers was an MVP. The point is, you have to feel good about Brady recruiting a wide receiver who, look, the Bucs traded up for him. He's got speed that can kill. You can't teach that speed. And then on top of it, even if he's not with that wide receiving rotation, because you've got Evans, you got Godwin, you got Antonio Brown and Scotty Miller, and of course, Tyler Johnson, he's going to make an impact on special teams. And look, Todd, if you can make an impact on special teams, the sky's the limit.
Oh, absolutely. And Bruce Arians has pretty much come out and said that, we want speed on special teams.
Yeah.
And the guys got speed. And I heard that he was catching everything at the rookie camp. And then, he was doing pretty well at the mini camp. And so, I'm ready for training camp. I always go over there for a weekend every year. Of course, we couldn't do that last year because of COVID.
Sure.
But man, I am pumped. I'm ready for training camp.
You fired up? How do you feel about this team? Do you feel even better? I mean, still world champions, Super Bowl champions. You look at this schedule, you have the 5 primetime games. Do you actually think they're going to be better this year, Todd? Because Brady is going to have those reps he missed out on top of it, having that playbook, being comfortable with it now, going off the momentum in the second half of the year. Do you feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2021 could actually be better?
Oh God, Peter, the sky's the limit. Listen, we didn't have any of that last year.
Yeah.
Now they just got through mini camp. They're going to go into training camp. We didn't have a preseason games last year either.
No.
We got 3 preseason games this year.
Yes.
And Brady, it's not Spanish to Brady anymore.
Yep.
He's got it down. Brady's going to know the playbook. The guys had a year with this offense last year. They're going to be absolutely unbelievable. They're going to be much better. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to go 14-3 this year.
Love it. I'm going to fire the cannons for that. I'm going to give you a new sound effect here.
Oh, yeah.
The little Macho Man right there. Good stuff. Anything else, Todd?
No, that's it, Peter. Listen, it's good to see you again. I'm glad you're doing well. Keep up the great work as always.
Absolutely, Todd. And definitely keep on calling and tune in to I Love St. Pete on Facebook. Join that 78,000 following they have. And then, of course, the Notoriety Sports Network. Go ahead, friend me on Facebook if we're not friends already, but definitely check out both of those platforms, and I won't be too far away. All right, my friend?
I got you, Peter.
All right, good stuff.
Appreciate it, brother. Have a great night.
Appreciate you. I love that. I love talking to Buccaneer fans. I love talking to National Football League fans. You don't even have to be a Buccaneer fan to participate in this. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. I promise you we'll talk some hockey with Travis Faley. Want to read these comments, and then we will get out to him. All right, let's see here. Vote yes on Bill 83 on the upcoming Hillsborough elections to nuke the Trop. And you started out with that. Love you, Troy, but that is definitely trolling me there. Yes, sir, says Dylan. Absolutely. Appreciate you. New friend here, Jason Anders. That's my dude. Nicholas says, here we go. Absolutely, of NSN Houston. Love that guy. Definitely see more of him because some stuff is moving and shaking in Houston with Deshaun Watson. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Thanks to the invite. Absolutely. My agent and, of course, my mother. Make friends with her on Facebook. Watching the best show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web on I Love St. Pete and the Notoriety Sports Network. Let's see here. Let me read these comments, and then we'll get out to Travis. I heard Bill Belichick already sent out spies around the Bucs training camp. He would have to. He would have to. Good evening, Peter and Ricky. Absolutely great interview with Ricky Reynolds. Undefeated. A lot of people feel like that. I'm not going to rule it out. You come to the right place. You know what I said last March. Super Bowl or bust. It's certainly possible, in my opinion, that they could go undefeated. Will they? There's some tough games on the schedule. I'm not sure about it, but I will never rule it out. Never. Of course, there's injuries that happen. Hello, Peter. Hello. Great show. Always glad to watch Bucs coverage. I appreciate all you do. Funny story, but I dated Ray Perkins' niece. How many receivers do we need active on game day 6 or 7? Great question. Good story, too. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons. I think he's going to have 6 or 7, honestly. I think 6 could be active. You know, but I think that what they're going to do is you're going to have Godwin and Evans and Brown and Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson. And then, you know, Darden is going to be a special teams guy. So does he necessarily have to be active with a wide receiver? Most likely he could just be special teams guy. But it's a great question. Can Brady get 50 touchdowns? We talked about it. Certainly possible, especially with his comments. And we'll get out to those Brady comments, the Brady presser this week. Gio in the red zone. I mean, being a third down back, how much is he going to add to this team? Being a guy that can catch the ball. And we talked about it. Ronald Jones necessarily needs to work on it. Leonard Fournette, not so great. That's the reason why you get a Bernard in the first place from Cincinnati. Philly trap game, possible. Talked about it. Fournette is our guy. Trey Jones or cut him. Stop it. You're trolling again. Bucks fans want to trade everybody. Like, you have supremely talented players. No need to trade them to other teams. Keep them here. Figure it out. That running back room is stronger than ever. Jones, Fournette, Vaughn, Bernard. Don't trade anybody. Keep them all because injuries happen. We talk about it all the time. The National Football League, not for long if you have injuries. We've seen it last year. Hello, Bucks family. What's up, Yash? Let me go ahead and fire those cannons. Fred sways more. Bucks 45, Dallas 13. I'll fire the cannons for that. Because, you know, look, as many people want to say that game could be close, and it certainly could be, right? I mean, Dallas is getting back Dak Prescott. They have Ezekiel Elliott. They have, you know, Amari Cooper and Robert Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. Their defense is atrocious. And I get it. You got a new defensive coordinator in a Dan Quinn. Well, you know, the Bucs are familiar with in Atlanta. They did a pretty good number on them last year and the years before. It's going to take some time. You got to get the horses to run that defense. I'm not sure if they have it. I'm not sure if they're going to come in right away. So it could definitely be a blowout. Could Dallas get better throughout the season? Absolutely. But from what you saw last year with the Cowboy team, god-awful. Can't tackle, can't cover, consistently awful. They got to change that. Yaj says, long as they stay healthy. W. Thomas Corral, why is KC more of a favorite than us to win it all? They have 4 new linemen because they have Patrick Mahomes. And because they are the media darlings. People feel like they shouldn't have lost if they had the 2 offensive linemen. That's the excuse. If they had 2 healthy offensive linemen, they beat the Bucs. Hogwash. Hogwash. And you know the usual suspects of this that are saying it. You know that it's a Shannon Sharp. You know that it's a Nick Wrong. Those are the guys in the national media saying it. They are. And they were wrong last year, and they're going to be wrong this year. Over, under, we intercept Jameson 2 games 3 times. Or in 2 games 3. Certainly think there's a possibility he throws some interceptions. Bills Mafia. Fred Swayze Moore, 20-0. Williams says division champs, home field throughout. Possible. Who's in that division is going to stop the Bucs? The Saints? Yeah, we talked about it. Quarterback situation still up in the air. Lots of losses defensively. Janoris Jenkins, Sheldon Rankins, Hendrickson, who gave Donovan Smith everything he could handle, gone. Not there anymore. Jason, guaranteed to win the division. Definitely. I mean, Carolina, Atlanta, getting rid of Julio Jones. I mean, Bucs fans, how happy were you to see that trade of a Julio Jones, who has killed the Bucs in some games, has he not? All right, let's go out to Kat. Our schedule is way harder than people think. A lot of teams we play will be much improved this year. Absolutely. And that's the danger of it. But that's the attitude you see from this team this last month. From Bruce Arians, from Tom Brady, from the veterans on this team. We have done nothing. We don't care about last year. We care about this year. And that's how we're going to approach it. That's going to be our mindset. We're not going to get complacent. We're going to stay hungry. W. Thomas, Russell Wilson after Brady retires, come on down. We'll treat you right. After all, that's what's looking for Brady's treatment. Well, come on down to Tampa in 2 years. Jason says you have to be crazy to trade Rojo. I agree. But yet that was talked about from some other media outlets. I'm not going to lie. I don't understand it. Why the hell are you going to trade Rojo when he nearly had 1,000 yards? I call him the victim of volume for a reason. You need to give him the carries. More than 17 a game. 20 to 25. The problem is, can he pass block? Got to improve on it. He did somewhat. Pass catching, not good. Too many drops. But consequently, he dropped as many passes as Leonard Fournette in the regular season. Bucs had a problem with that. That's the reason why they got a Giovanni Bernard from Cincinnati. All right, Chill Will. BA has said some players aren't in shape, and I wonder who. Well, better be in shape. Dallas did pick up Keanu O'Neal. KZ, first time in a while. Go Bucks. Yeah, Deshaun, where you been? I mean, you guys are welcome here. I don't care about the platform that I used to be on. This is the Sports Web. This is the evolution of Sports Talk Television, and it rolls on. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Both offensive tackles doing backflips in the pool. Yes, I did see that also. All right, let me go ahead and let's reach out to our hockey insider with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Absolutely. Let's get out to Travis Faley here. Let's see if we can get him on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. And if we can't, we'll talk Bucks.
Hey, man.
What's going on, Travis Faley? Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. And you got to love seeing that effort with the Lightning shutout the Carolina Hurricanes 2-0. Talk about that game a little bit. Man, oh man, Vasilevsky continues to do what he does best, right?
Well, Pete, we've talked about it all season for the most part, not only all season, but for the years that he's been in that. He's just, he's getting not only recognition across the NHL from the players now, but also from the greats, and they're putting him in standing with Dominik Hasek, et cetera, et cetera. And, Pete, I don't think he gets enough recognition for the puck handling that he does. I mean, Marty Brodeur was known as arguably the greatest puck handler of all time as far as a goalie is concerned. And we saw a lot of it with Mike Smith. And Smith gets a little bit out of control. Ben Bishop a little bit out of control. But Vasilevsky is just rock solid moving the puck. He's like the sixth skater out there. And he really pushes the puck and gets that offense going sometimes. It's fantastic to watch.
You're absolutely right. The outlet passes really set up some of those big-time goals or some of those breakaways, and I think defensemen are kind of caught off guard with how the passing is so good to a forward or to a defenseman. With that being said, we kind of talked about this fourth line. It was interesting. You have a Pat Maroon who has the experience. He won a Stanley Cup with St. Louis, won it with the Lightning last year. Gritty player. You also have this kid in Ross Colton who scored in this game. And then you have Tyler Johnson. What a fourth line. And this goes back to what we always talk about, Travis. The depth is there for this Lightning team, right?
Absolutely. And you're seeing it, you're getting it from all four lines right now, Pete, and we've talked about this. Like I said, I'm probably going to say this numerous times because we've discussed these certain things about the Lightning because they do the little things so well. And I just want to make one more point about Vasilevsky and how he moves the puck.
Sure.
It's not only that he's moving the puck, Pete. He's stopping the other team from forechecking and digging in and controlling the puck down in the offensive zone. So they dump it in off the boards or from wherever, blue line, red line, and chase in. If Vasilevsky stops the puck down low and pushes it out, it kills that whole offensive rush. And then obviously the Lightning counter with their speed. So it all starts and it doesn't all start and stop, but you know what I'm saying? It definitely stops with the cat, Andre Vasilevsky.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And of course, we're on with our Lightning insider, Rocket Sports and Entertainment, Mr. Travis Faley here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web. Want to go out to Hurricanes defenseman Dougie Hamilton, who, look, he says this: we had a great season. We lost to a team that's $18 million over the cap or whatever they are. I feel like we played them pretty close. He also says, I wasn't knocking the rules or anything. You realize how many weapons they have. And if they think about how many more players you could have with money, you realize how much deeper you'd be. That's just how it worked out. I know it's happened with teams in the past. I don't have a problem with it. You just realize how good the team was. I mean, are these fair comments? This seems like, instead of tipping your cap to the better team, which, you watch that hockey game, you watch the series, clearly the Lightning were the better team. I get it, they have talent, but saying 18 million, that's kind of throwing some shade out there.
Well, he's looking at some of the players that we picked up also in the late season trade for Savard when we acquired a guy that I believe was on LTIR. And, you know, we're able to still acquire Savard and not have to really pay anything off the cap. So I understand it. Don't get me wrong, Pete, but they're just working the system that the players signed off in the CBA. So it's all a little bit more sour grapes than anything else. Carolina had their opportunities to win games, and you said it, they're a young team coming up, just like the Panthers are. They're a young team, and so they're not ready yet. You know, you always look at teams and clubs, and you sit there and go, okay, the Lightning in 2003, 2002, 2003, right prior to them winning the Cup, you know, went in and they had to go through their struggles. They had to get through stage and stage and stage. You know how it is, Pete. It's the same thing in football, the same thing in baseball. You have to get that playoff experience. Carolina didn't have it. Florida didn't have it. Are they going to be a force to be reckoned with somewhere down the line next year, the following year? Absolutely. But this year, from what I can see, it could be the Lightning's year once again. They have the talent up front, in the back, and obviously from a goaltending perspective. And people in the commentators are saying it themselves. It's not just me.
No, definitely not. And a big part of that was Nikita Kucherov's return. He was talking to the media today in care of the Tampa Bay Times. So I was trying to find a way to stay positive and be with my family a little bit too, to see my son grow. That helped me a lot. Of course, he's talking about the injury, getting away from the game a little bit, and not thinking too much about it. It wasn't easy, but I think I got a lot stronger mentally, and I understand what it takes to go through. He also says, he goes on to say, you know, missing a whole year, you ask any player, you don't want to be that guy. It's tough to watch the game from my house or from the stands or through the teammates working out, skating by myself. I didn't do it on purpose, obviously. I had to do the surgery. I had to go through the whole 5 months of rehabilitation. And when the time came, when I was ready to play, it was the playoffs. It's just mentally tough, but I had to go through it. I think I got better at it, looking at the game from a different standpoint, like on power plays, how the team plays, and how the team defends, how much time it would have had if I was there. He also says it's really annoying. You get down on yourself sometimes. You want to go out there and play, and instead you go to the gym, you do rehab stuff. It was tough. You get home from the game and guys are feeling good. And I'm like, tomorrow is the same thing. Very telling comments from Mr. Kucherov, right?
Oh, he's got to be happy that it wasn't a full season too. So
Yeah.
in that regard,
Right.
But, you know, it's really helped him. And you're looking at it now. You're seeing that he's like Gretzky. He's going where the puck is going to. He's not there. You understand what I'm saying by that?
Yeah.
He's seeing the plays. He's seeing this laser focus on where plays are developing. And he even said he's basically the captain / catalyst now on the power play, because he is running the show. He's not only staying from the right circle, but he's also moving in over to the center, where Victor Hedman usually mans either left or right, obviously, but Victor has a tendency to play more in the center when he's leading the power play. But then now you're seeing Kuch run circle from the right circle into the middle, and now he's seeing other things. He's seeing Killorn. He's seeing obviously Stamkos, where you don't have to look too far. You just turn your head to the left, and he's sitting right there, getting ready to fire. So this team's ready to go. We'll be there on Sunday afternoon at 3:00. Right now, I'm on a beautiful dock overlooking the Intercoastal, seeing some family. It's been a pretty great night. We just started, just got down here, but glad for you to be taking my call. Loving to talk Lightning hockey, and we got an interesting matchup against this Islander club. This isn't last year's Islander club. I mean, most of the parts are the same, but once again, they got that taste of playing hockey. They made a couple little additions here and there, and other than the fact they did lose arguably their best player in Anders Lee. Been out most of the playoffs.
Sure.
So Lightning catch a break in that regard, but this team's deep. They can roll 4 lines, and they're a little bit nasty. Not as nasty as that Vegas Knights team. Oh boy. Montreal's got their hands full with that club. That club's dangerous.
Yeah, they really
Real
are.
dangerous.
And I think a lot of people were surprised by it because, Vegas, all the odds were pointing to Colorado being the most complete team in the National Hockey League and basically winning the Stanley Cup. And it didn't happen. The Islanders, what do they have to do to stop this power play, which has been, tremendous, 47% clip, which is just unbelievable. I mean, it is the equalizer.
That's easy. That's the easiest question and I don't even have to be a NHL coach or any other coach for that matter. I just need you got to stay out of the box, Pete.
Yeah.
You got to slow these guys. I mean, you saw what Carolina was doing. They're getting in their face in the neutral zone, and then at the blue line, and slowing down that Lightning entry.
Sure.
If the Lightning can get the puck in, they're usually fairly fine. But it's that struggle getting it in. So into the zone, obviously, getting it stopped over with Kucherov or with Victor, and getting things organized. So, I mean, it's very frustrating at a fan at times. That's very frustrating as a fan at times. When you're watching that Lightning entry and they're just not getting it in. Obviously, everybody that's a Lightning fan understands the struggles, but they can struggle for a minute 45, and next thing you know, they got the puck in the zone and they're putting it in the back of the net in 15 seconds. So
yeah, I mean, and here's the thing: the matchup is, I think it's different from Florida. I think it's different from Carolina because this is one of the least penalized teams in the league. So, like you said, if they could stay out of the box and they could be somewhat physical, and I don't think the Lightning are going to back down. Look, the series last year went game 6 in overtime. Do you think that's the kind of series we're kind of expecting here, game 6, game 7, or could once again the Lightning do what they do and then dominate?
I'm hoping it goes to, 4 games in the favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning, obviously, but I think this is going to be a pretty tough series, probably the toughest up until this point. And it's playing to go play for the Stanley Cup, the greatest trophy in all professional or any other sport. So I give the Islanders a chance. I see the Lightning winning this probably in 5 or 6. Yes. Could it go 7? Absolutely. They got some good players on this team.
Yeah.
Nick Leddy, Barzal is arguably their best player now, best offensive weapon. So, if you can contain Leddy, Palmieri, and Barzal, you should be able to win this series handily.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
You look at our defense, the Lightning defense, they go 6 deep, Savard's playing well. Sergachev arguably had the best series of his life in the last series, blocking shots everywhere in the final game against Carolina. I mean, some of those blocks off the ankle, off the behind, Sergachev was everywhere in that game. And really, he's out there earning himself a huge paycheck somewhere down the road right now. But, you do have Savard. You got McDonough out there who was, hold on a second. Hold on, Pete.
Yeah, no problem. I think he is. That's okay. He's with family right now. He's taking out his time of night here, hanging out with us here, our Lightning insider, Mr. Travis Feely of Rocket Sports and Entertainment. Yeah, you can definitely.
I apologize for that, guys. I got a bunch of people yelling and
well, I tell you what, let's get you out of here.
I have responsibilities.
Yes, you do.
To your viewers and your listeners, and I appreciate the fact that you let me come on and talk my favorite team, team that I've been covering for many years now at Sports and Entertainment.
Yes.
And my music site at knac.com. So, Pete, I'll be out there on Sunday once again. You guys see me out there, please come and say hi. Be more than happy to shake hands and not kiss babies.
All right, there you go. Rocket Sports and Entertainment's own and our Lightning insider on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, Mr. Travis Feely, with his hot takes. Thanks a lot, Travis, here for your time on this Friday night. All right, boss?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.
Appreciate you, too. There you go. Good stuff. So open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Rojo, 1,000 yards, certainly possible. Jason says the Lightning know how to win big games point blank. They've been there before. They've been to the dance. They know what to expect. Is this team going to give them everything they can handle? We'll see. Starts on Sunday at 3:00. It always comes down to goaltending. And if it comes down to goaltending, not saying the Islanders don't have a good goaltending crew, but in my opinion, Andre Vasilevsky is the best goalie in the National Hockey League. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Want to go out to these Brady comments, kind of take a break. We'll come back, listen to Tom Brady talk about, and I believe this comment here is him talking about the injury situation. Unbelievable comments and what we learned this week, dealing with it here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Tom Brady at his presser this week. Enjoy.
I feel really good. Every player, deals with different things. And I never like to talk about injuries. You know, I'm a little bit old school in that way, and that, you know, you deal with them and then, you know, you just make the most of them. And I think the good part is I'll be able to commit a lot of time to other parts. I'm sure I'll be faced with different adversities this year, but I had to spend a lot of time tending to that particular injury, which happens when you have something that's, you know, you need to ultimately have surgery on to get fixed. So I had my knee surgery, and that was about 15 weeks ago today. And really happy with, you know, kind of my, you know, rehab process. And it's been great communication. Alex and I worked really hard at trying to get back to full speed to get what I need to do to begin to improve. And it's been a good process of learning, and you know, I feel like I'm there. And now from this point to the beginning of the season, to beginning of training camp, I really feel like I can really work hard at, you know, football improvement as opposed to getting back to a rehab, you know, place where you're more baseline. But it was a injury I dealt with really, you know, since last, you know, April, May. And, you know, I knew I would have to do something at the end of the year, and happy I did it. And it was probably, you know, something that was it certainly needed to be done, and there's a great outcome. So I'm very happy about that. I feel I'll be able to do some different things this year than I was able to do last year.
So to me, very surprising comments, because here's a player where the Bucs knew that he was hurt and he was dealing with this last April. And if you can look at it, you're looking at the other side of it. You know, here's a player, there was doubts. We talked about it all last year, 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions with the New England Patriots. A lot of questions. Brady lost his arm strength. You know, this injury he was dealing with it. It kind of makes you wonder, right? Not only was he helped by the fact of, you know, not necessarily having those workouts, but he was still working out. He was still playing at a high level. But what would happen if he didn't play at that high level? Right? Then people would say, well, he's damaged goods. Bucs knew about it. That's the reason why he didn't play well. He still played in the elite level with a knee injury. 15 weeks out. He talked about it. Getting surgery. He's going to be that much better. The guy was dealing with an injury already. Clyde Christensen talked about this a couple weeks ago. How he feels like it affected Brady. Brady was talking about it. He's happy with the outcome. Can you imagine now a fully healthy Tom Brady who's comfortable with his playbook? Oh my gosh. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. But again, going back to it, if he didn't make it through the whole season, or if he struggled, there would be people out there that would have said, what? Damaged goods, quarterback is washed up. Maybe that's the reason why some teams stayed away. Once again, they're kicking themselves. We heard about it in the offseason. The San Francisco 49ers were looking at it. They felt like going with Jimmy Garoppolo, but they were exploring it. Don't you think they would love to have Tom Brady as their quarterback? You better believe it. Especially with Garoppolo not being able to stay healthy. But it's simply amazing that here's a quarterback that played what? 19, 20 years with the New England Patriots. Comes to the Bucs. Learns a new offense. And excels with an injury. Amazing. We'll go out to Jason Powers here in just a moment. Want to keep on going with these Tom Brady comments. Of course, all the talk this week has been the difficulty in repeating. See, I could sit here and say it all day long, and I believe it. And I think there's a lot of fans that believe. Why wouldn't you? The Glazers, everybody from top to bottom has set this team up for success. But Brady talks about how difficult it is to repeat. Of course, him being the last quarterback to do it with the New England Patriots in 2003, 2004. Here were his comments on that possibility with the Bucs. Here we go.
Question. I think think the assumption comes from the belief that it'll just be exactly like it was last year. I think that's what you got to not fall into, is that, oh, this is the way it worked last year, so this is the way it'll be this year. And the reality is everything's different. And, the teams will approach you a little bit differently. You're kind of the team everyone's watching now. So there's different degrees of expectation. There's more external noise. There'll be more people that are wanting to come to games, more opportunity to do things outside of football. And I think the reality is you got to stay focused on, what's really important. How do you improve? How do you get better from week to week, day to day? Improve your routine, improve your communication with your teammates, with your coaches. Not allow your mind to really, fall into this position that you make this assumption that just because you did something in February that you'll do it again next February, because that's not the reality of football. It's way too competitive. Even the games, a lot of games we won last year were very razor thin margins. One or two plays, make the difference in every game. So I'm, from how I feel about it and how BA has talked about it with our team, he's done a great job of keeping us focused, keeping the intensity there, allowing us to continue to work out together and communicate and make improvements that we need to make, because I feel like, we're not finished products. And it was really our first opportunity to play together last year. And there's a lot of opportunity for us to grow into something that could be, very different. We got to improve the things that we did well. And we got to, certainly build on a lot of things that we didn't do very well. So all those things can be improved. And I think that's a commitment to a daily process of trying to improve. And that just comes from working at it. And we have a lot of guys who like to do that. Very competitive group of guys.
Keyword, very competitive group of guys. Welcome back to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television on the Notoriety Sports Network. And I love St. Pete. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. I mean, it's tough. It's going to be tough. We know this. We know it was going to be tough last year to win the Super Bowl, and now this year coming back, because now you have a target on your back. Everybody expects it. It's not, well, is Tom Brady washed up? Yes, this team is supremely talented offensively and defensively, but they've done it. Can they do it again? That's that competitive fire. And I love the comment at the end. We got a competitive group of guys. They are dead set on it. They are focused. And it starts from the top. You heard what BA had to say. No job is safe. Everything is up for competition. Wide receiver, I don't think so. Running back, definitely. But you take BA at his word, everything is up for competition, besides quarterback, obviously. Let's not be stupid. Christopher Cole says, hey, what did I miss? A lot. That's okay. You can watch the replay here on I Love St. Pete. Of course, the Notoriety Sports Network. We had the great Ricky Reynolds on talking about Buck's schedule, how he felt about the Super Bowl, his days of playing in the National Football League, and what he thought about Bill Parcells. So, again, we'll be able to watch that replay. And, of course, talking with Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment about the Tampa Bay Lightning, of course, starting their series versus the New York Islanders on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Best of 7. Series could go long. We'll see. We'll see. Let's go back out to Mr. Tom Brady, and then we'll get out to the power man himself, Mr. Jason Powers. I got to go.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Powers on sports broadcast. Definitely want to hear what he thinks about, Tom Brady's comments, the Tampa Bay Lightning around the NFL, some stories that came out this week. We'll tackle it all. And Cameron Kinley had some comments on the Dan Patrick Show about how he felt the Navy approach that situation. Let's go back out to Brady here. He was asked about what the difference between last year and this year and the workouts and the playbook. Very interesting stuff once again from Tom Brady and his presser on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Here we go.
Well, it's, just terminology and kind of knowing, there's some things in football you do. And then when you ultimately get to the season, you just don't do much of them for one reason or another. And I think last year I was trying to figure out what to do. And I think this year it's more like, no, this is the things we're going to focus on. These are the things we're going to try to improve. And a lot of it's just being on the same page and understanding timing and steps and, nonverbal communication. Because in football, you don't get the opportunity to communicate verbally very often. You do at home a little bit more. It's still a little tricky, even a late part of last year when fans were allowed back in. But, there's hopefully going to be full stadiums at every place. You'll have the full crowd noise. A lot of it's going to be nonverbal communication where you have to rely on a lot of the things that, we're doing in those sessions that we did last year in practice. And then we got to build on those things because, it could be, the way that a guy leans his shoulder or the way that he's going to, use his hips to get open or, he's going to put his arm out or, as simple as a head nod. But there's a lot of those things that you can gain over the course of a long period of time. And we're starting at that place now, as opposed to, now we've got 15 months invested in one another as opposed to, 3 months. And I'd much rather be 15 months and 3 months because I believe that continuity in football is the key to winning. And, the more continuity you can have over a long period of time, there's just so many situations that come up over the course of the season that you're not able to sort through. You have to rely on a lot of past history. And I think, I think 15 months is better than 3 months. I think 27 months is going to be better than 15 months. So as long as we're all committed to working at it, which I know our coaches are, I know BA is, he's on us. Our position coaches, Byron is, the receivers all want to get better and improve. And I think we're going to work as hard as we can to be at a place, start training camp, and then, see what we can do from there.
There you go. Welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. He's exactly right. And I love the comment of the continuity is the key to winning. Yeah, that's what we always talk about. That's what we talked about this offseason. Continuity, keeping everybody in check. The coaches are there. The players are there. You have an extra year of experience. Who are the players that mostly affects? Tom Brady. Rob Gronkowski. Gronkowski talked about it months ago. I'm going to be more comfortable because I don't necessarily have to learn a new system. I don't necessarily have to get in shape. I'm already in shape. I mean, that's the difference. That's the reason why, we talk about the schedule, you don't know, but you believe that carrying over the momentum from last year, that will carry over this year and that this team is going to be better off with having that experience factor. You believe that. In my opinion, I think they could actually be better offensively. You see the first half of the year, you see the second half of the year. Second half, I favor more than anything else. You know why? Balance. Balance with the running attack, taking the pressure off of Tom Brady. That was the key. Because we talk about it. Football 101. You put 8 men in the box, you got one-on-one coverage. Uh-oh. Evans has got single coverage possibly. Godwin, Brown, Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, who fans still want to trade. I don't understand. I get it. He hasn't played a lot of downs with this team because of the injury stuff. But goodness gracious, did you see the potential with him if he could stay healthy? You got Cameron Brate. I mean, that's what you're looking at. And I think Bucs fans should get excited about the fact of them being comfortable a second year in the offense, namely a Brady, how he can excel, how he's coming off the injury, how they're carrying over that momentum from the second half of the year when they became Super Bowl champions. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Once again, we'll get out to Jason Powers here in just a little bit. One more comment from Tom Brady about how it's going to feel to play in front of a packed house at Raymond James Stadium. Oh, yeah. Fans make a difference. Make no mistake about it. I've always said this on the sports web. I subscribe to this theory. Sports fans are the lifeblood of sports talk shows. If I don't have you fans that tune in and call in, I have nothing. As I sound like Whitney Houston right now. All right, enough of that. Let's go out to Tom Brady and his thoughts on playing in a full house at Raymond James Stadium here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Enjoy.
really, I think, exciting for all of us. And we had a little taste of it in the Super Bowl where there was definitely crowd noise. There was crowd noise in Green Bay in the NFC Championship game, but there's nothing like running out there in front of a home crowd and, 70,000 people cheering. As I think for all of us who, love being on that stage, that's the excitement. We play for one game a week, 3 hours a week. Everything we do is for 3 hours in 1 week. And I don't think that's too much to ask for us to be excited in that moment. It's not like baseball, 162 games. We had 16 games. We basically put everything we can into those 3 hours. And I think when the fans are there, they add their energy, their excitement. We feel that. And I think that's one of the best part about playing professional sports. And some guys really rise up to that moment. And I think other guys, don't. And I think it's pretty easy to see who does. And, those are guys I can count on, that I trust. And I love being out there in the biggest moments with those guys. And I've got a lot on this team: Mike and Chris and Antonio, Scotty, Leonard, Rojo, Gronk, Cam, OJ, Tristan, Donnie, Ryan, Allie, Cap, Stinny. I mean, everybody on offenses loves those moments. And I saw it firsthand. So I'm excited to build on that and, see what we can do this year, because every year is going to be different. Every year is new, and there's going to be different challenges. We're going to face a lot of adversity, and we got to be prepared no matter what it takes to figure out a way to win the game.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. I love it. And it seemed like he was kind of trying to throw some shade out there again, right? Some players rise and some players don't. Love Tom Brady. Gotta love him. Ultimate competitor. Jordan-like. He's got that fire in his eye. He's not done. It is not extinguished. That's why when you heard the rumor, well, we don't know if he could play. He could play to his 50, play whenever he wants to. It's amazing, right? The Packers are trying to force out Aaron Rodgers when he's playing in the prime of his career. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, after Brady won a Super Bowl for him, is actually saying, you know what? Window's open. We're going to do everything we can to make you happy. As long as you're playing at a high level and you want to play for the Bucs, we're good with it. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Let's get out to the power man himself. Let me do it.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Jason Powers, of course, Powers on Sports Podcast. Say it again. Jason, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television here on I Love St. Pete and the Notoriety Sports Network. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Peter, how you doing, man?
Doing great, buddy. Doing great. And, we got to go to these comments from Brady. How surprised were you to hear him talk about this injury, which, didn't happen during the year? It actually happened before the year. And it's kind of amazing to still see him play through it and play at an elite level.
Well, I mean, that's just, to me, that's just part of the aging process for a guy like him that's played 20 years in the league. Again, what did it really hamper in his game? I don't know. I mean, only he knows that. I mean, he's never going to be a runner, so I don't think it hampered his mobility at all. The one thing it probably hampered was his ability to create a stable base in the pocket sometimes. There might have been times on some throws where instead of pushing off on that left knee to throw that ball another 8 or 10 yards on a deep throw, maybe he wasn't able to do that, which maybe affects his accuracy just a little bit. So who knows what the real injury was and how significant the surgery was. It couldn't have been that significant because he recovered from the surgery in a matter of 6-8 weeks. So it couldn't have been that severe of a knee injury, but I get it. You and I both know we're getting older, knees ache, back aches, things like that. If you have a partially torn ligament or a partially, some of your meniscus gets torn, it's uncomfortable. It's harder to run, harder to recover. So good for Tom Brady.
Yeah, good for Tom Brady. And I always look at it from the aspect of, look, if this doesn't necessarily work out, the rest of the NFL is saying he's damaged goods. The Bucs knew about it. They trusted him. He trusted his body. He knew his body. So he played through it. And once again, played at an elite level. Now, of course, the talk has been, can the Bucs repeat? And it certainly seems like, look, they're definitely right on they're on track to do it because of what they did in the offseason to set themselves up. And also the mindset. We heard from BA just a couple months ago that everybody's going to compete for a job. And now you hear from Brady saying the same thing. Basically, we've done nothing. We've got work to do. We got work cut out for us, but the continuity is the key, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that one thing, again, with Brady and those Patriot teams, there was always a core of players that were always going to be in New England. I mean, the Teddy Bruschi's, the McGinnises, those kind of guys. The offensive line was always typically kept intact. So that is definitely a major plus for the Buccaneers heading into 2021 is the continuity. And one thing I will correct you, Arians made it a point to say there are no starting jobs up for grabs. He was really talking about backups, return men, kind of the depth of the roster are the jobs he was really referring to as far as they will be very competitive in camp. Now, sure, to me, the one job that could potentially be up for grabs, starting job, would be that guard job between Alex Kappa and Stinney. Remember, Stinney came in for Kappa with the broken leg last year, played really well down the stretch into the playoffs. So to me, that's the only starting job that's really up for grabs. And maybe the running back job, but we all know both those running backs, Fournette and Ronald Jones, are going to play significantly. So who does it matter who comes out first in the first huddle? Not really. I think the right guard job is the one job, Stinney or Kappa, that could be a training camp battle for me.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I think the running back battle, I mean, with that running back room, with Rojo, the way that Fournette ran in the postseason, of course, adding a Bernard from Cincinnati and a Keyshawn Vaughn, who they highly drafted. A lot of people saying, you know what? No matter what happens, Rojo is going to lose carries. Fournette's going to lose carries because this young kid, Vaughn, is going to get them. And, of course, Bernard. But yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, the best running back on this team, and maybe I'm biased, believe it is the victim of volume.
That's your guy, man. Ronald Jones is your guy, and I'm with you. I think Ronald is from a pure running back perspective, I think Ronald's the best pure runner we have, game-breaking kind of guy. He's the guy that can go 65, 70 yards on a carry. Again, Fournette has his advantages. To me, he might be a little tougher around the goal line, but down to down, I'm with you. I think Ronald Jones is the best tailback we've got.
All right, we're on with Jason Powers here, the Power Man himself.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
And once again, go ahead and promote your podcast so I can get it right. I think I got it right that time, but go ahead and do it again.
Yeah, it's the Powers on Sports podcast.
There we
We're
go.
on all the major podcast platforms, Apple, Google, Stitcher. Just released an episode yesterday with David Moulton, who is a part of the CBS on SEC on CBS broadcast team with Danielson and Brad Nessler, as well as he's part of the broadcast crew. Basically, he's Troy Aikman's right-hand man for Troy Aikman and Joe Buck on Fox NFL Sunday. So we had a great chat with David about his career, about working with those guys, and all the cool things that go about working the SEC game of the week in CBS, as well as working with Buck and Aikman on Sundays.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Definitely check out that interview once again with Mr. Jason Powers. Powers on Sports Podcasts and all the platforms that you want to go to. With that being said, of course, this Buccaneer team, the schedule has been talked about. We talk about it over and over again, and we'll see what happens. We really will. But, with this Buccaneer team, the continuity, I just love that comment by Brady. Continuity is the key. And I also like the fact that he's talking about we got some competitive guys. We got guys basically going to come in here. They're not going to sit and basically say, we're not hungry. We still have a goal to meet. And I still feel like the national media is pushing this narrative, even with that schedule, that this team has the possibility of going undefeated. Now, I look at it again, there's a couple losses possibly on here, but are you feeling more, with listening to Brady and then on top of it, knowing the playbook and being fully healthy? Are you buying it just a little bit that possibly they could go undefeated? I guess anything is possible, but more than ever with Brady's comments.
I don't think that's a realistic, probability. And obviously every year, one team or another will go 6 or 7, 8 games, go 7-8-0 type deal. I mean, they've got some, if you really look at their schedule, they've got some really tough road games, going to Indianapolis, going to Los Angeles, Even going to New England's going to be an emotional game, even though we should be a better team. It's just hard to win. I mean, in any season, it's hard to beat the worst team in the league. I mean, the margin between the best team and the 30th team is razor thin. There are more games in that league that are decided by one possession, like Brady mentioned. 1, 2, 3 plays in a game decide probably 75% of the games in that league. And I just think it would be stupid for the Buccaneer fans for us to have any expectation to go undefeated, because that's not the goal. The goal is to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, if we were to get to a point in November where you're 10, 11, and 0, then you start thinking about it. But until that case, to me, it's just a waste of time and a waste of energy.
All right, let's talk about former Bucs corner here. Of course, Cameron Kinley, who is a part of the Navy. He won't be given a chance to play in the NFL because of the required military service, which is fine. I get that. But he went on the Dan Patrick Show and he said, I was given no explanation. I was told that there is no appeal process. I just want to get my story out there because I feel like it needs to be heard. He also says, that's kind of business that we're in the military. I'm not owed an explanation. The acting secretary of the Navy, it was up for his discretion. He says, Kinley, of course, this is his childhood dream. And also, I'm speechless. The common misconception is that I don't want to serve, and that's never been the case. I just felt like I had the opportunity to do both, and I don't see why I'm not able to. Where do you lie on this situation with Mr. Kinley?
I understand where he's coming from, and I also understand where the Navy's coming from. One thing I will say is, and it wouldn't shock me because we've got a down period of time here. We've got about a month or so, 5-6 weeks before training camp. It wouldn't shock me if in the next 2-3 weeks that we see a change of course by the Navy, whether it's, somebody like Joe Biden maybe makes a phone call to somebody, or somebody in the Navy makes a phone call to somebody else in the Navy to where, hey, give this guy an opportunity to do this. It's going to be great publicity for the Navy if we let this guy do this. It's going to be great publicity for, just a goodwill thing to do as and I think, again, we've seen examples over the years. David Robinson, Napoleon McCallum, the quarterback a couple years ago that's now playing that's played in the NFL for a couple years. There's other examples of guys in the military that have done this. And again, like you said, he's made no declaration that he wants no part of performing his commitment duties. I think it'd just be a great thing. And it wouldn't shock me if in the next 2 weeks you see a change of course by the Naval Academy.
Yeah, but I talked to Leo Haggerty, the legend himself. Of course, he wanted to join us tonight, but he is a little bit under the weather, so he'll be back on Monday. And what he was telling me is the reason why they want this kid so bad is not only because he was the president of the class, but also he has military intelligence, and this comes down to, war strategic experience where, it's when it's wartime, he's one of the smartest guys in the room. That's what it comes down to. So.
I mean, and I get that. And that's a great quality. I'm glad that he's that educationally gifted to be able to do that and that highly thought of by the Navy. But please, do we think him at 22 years old or 25 years old is going to be dictating orders if we do have a conflict somewhere? He's not going to be the guy that's going to be making the ultimate decision at 23, 24, 25 years old. Again, I think you make an exception for the guy and you say, okay, Kinley, when your duties in the NFL are done or when your career is over, we do expect you to. And I think he would. I think he would jump into that. I don't think he'd have any problem. The only issue you would have if you're the Navy is the opportunity for him to have some kind of career-ending injury, concussion issues, things like that. Because you remember, as much as we don't think so, the Navy invests a lot of money in these young men and women when they send them to the Naval Academy or to West Point or out to the Air Force Academy. There's a lot of dollars that get invested in these guys and women over a 4 or 5 year period.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And, you're exactly right. It's not like he's 22 years old. He's going to making those final decisions. But obviously, he's very valuable to the military. So I get it. Washington coach Ron Rivera brought in a vaccination expert to town to try to convince players to get the COVID-19 shot on Thursday. Of course, Bruce Arians talked to Jenna Lane of ESPN. He says, I'm the specialist. If you want to go back to normal, get vaccinated. 85% is what we're shooting for. It's still a personal choice, but I don't see a reason not to be vaccinated. This could be one of those things that you look at. I mean, can the organization make players and assistant coaches get vaccinated if they don't want to by, threatening to be in the facility? Possibly, Pro Football Talk was mentioning this, taking away game checks. I mean, does it come down to that? Is Bruce right? You want things to go back to normal, get vaccinated? Is it just that cut and dry?
I mean, nobody's going to be taking a check from anybody. What it's going to do is, if the more people that are not vaccinated, it's just going to make it more of a continuous hassle, i.e. Zoom meetings, i.e. having to do all these different things in the facility. When you're in the facility, you can't be, the more guys that are not vaccinated, the more protocols everybody has to adhere to for a longer period of time. It slows down the workday a little bit. It makes things a little more challenging to meet, to review film, to work out, and all the things that go into running a day-to-day operation in the NFL. And to me, again, I'm vaccinated. To me, I don't understand the thought process about just refusing completely. I know there's conspiracy theories and people love to do that, but come on. There's a vaccination facility less than 300 yards from One Buck Place. I've not seen any reports of anybody who's gotten vaccinated, especially professional athlete wise, that's had major issues with any kind of vaccination, side effects, things like that. So for me, I would encourage everybody to get vaccinated. Again, can you mandate 1,000% everybody does it? No, but come on. I mean,
you kind of wonder. You kind of wonder if they will go to that extent to where, basically they have to, be vaccinated or they're not going to gain a game check. I'm just saying. And, at the end of the day, I think teams do have that right to say that because, of course, it could cost them their team. And, of course, if one player gets it in one room, like a running back room, then everybody gets it. I've had it. I haven't been vaccinated yet because I'm not over my 90 days with the antibodies. I have to, wait to July to get it, but I'm going to get it because I don't want to get COVID at all again. And I don't think there's a lot of people who want to get it at all because it's not pleasant and we're all powers. Yes.
Yeah. Here's one thing I will add, though. If you don't think come the end of training camp when the roster cuts are being made, if you don't think there's a 50-50 decision to be made about two guys and they think they're of equal quality and one's vaccinated and one's not, they'll never say it publicly and they'll never disclose that. But I wouldn't be shocked if guys don't make teams because of lack of refusing to get vaccinated. If it's a marginal, 50-50 shot between two guys, or if there's a major salary cap issue situation that evolves with one guy who refuses to get vaccinated, it wouldn't shock me if guys get cut from a team.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. It's certainly possible. We talked about the possibility last year, Jason, if somebody got it and they weren't necessarily a superstar, could they be cut or could, because again, it only takes one player at that point to change the outcome of where that team goes. Nicholas Alvarez says Team Moderna. Laugh out loud. We know that he got it. So there you go. Fire the cannons on that. I'll give him a woo. Good stuff there. I know he's a big-time wrestling fan. I know we're all wrestling fans here. We're on with the Power Man himself, Mr. Jason Powers. Let's go out to Shaq Barrett and his presser and what he had to say about his teammate, and that would be Tristan Wirfs, 13th overall pick last year. Tristan is Tristan is the best tackle that I played against. He's most definitely learns from his mistakes and then most definitely doesn't repeat the same mistakes at all anymore. So it's going to be a good going against him this training camp that's coming up because it's going to make him a better player. Makes me have to work on different pass rushes and different game plans and different schemes for going against certain tackles. So if I'm able to break him down and be able to get some wins on him, it most definitely is going to translate over to other tackles in the league. Just to give you some statistics, and this is from BucksNation.com. It's truly remarkable how good Wirfs was as a rookie in 2020. He played all 1,280 of the Buccaneers' offensive snaps and allowed just 1 sack and 799 pass blocking snaps. His quarterback pressure rate was 3%, which was also the 4th lowest of any tackle in the NFL. And now for 2019 NFL sack leaders to already consider him the best he's ever faced, that's quite a good sign for what the future is to come. Do you agree with that? I mean, how surprised were you with the Tristan Wirfs with the 400 missed reps, which is what BA talked about last year, that could affect, a rookie's development. It didn't affect Wirfs.
Oh, this could go down. Wirfs, the way he's played and the technical savvy he has and the maturity he has, he could go down as the best Bucs offensive lineman in the history of the franchise. I really believe that. I think he's got a tremendous future. I think he'll be the heir apparent at left tackle when the Bucs move on from Donovan Smith. I think, again, remember last year at the draft when the consideration was, do you take Andrew Thomas? Do you trade up for, there was 3 or 4 tackles in that discussion, and there was varied opinions of who was the best tackle. And the Bucs were very aggressive when they were on the clock to move up to get him. And you got to give Jason Light all the credit because that was an area of need, and he plugged in. And to me, his technical savvy, he comes from a great program of linemen at Iowa. Ferentz is a very good offensive line coach. And the maturity and athleticism he's shown is off the charts. And to me, he's going to be a perennial all-pro player on the offensive line for the next 10 to 12 years.
All right, Jason, let's get off the Bucs here. Let's go to the Green Bay Packers. These comments in care of ProFootballTalk.com, and they are from CEO Mark Murphy. And this was in a fan chat. He says, the situation we face with Aaron Rodgers has divided our fan base. The emails and letters that I received reflect the fact, as I wrote here last month, we remain committed to resolving things with Aaron and want him to be our quarterback in 2021 and beyond. We are working to resolve the situation and realize that, less both sides say publicly, the better. With regard to the Washington football team, it looks like they will be the Washington football team. He was talking about that. But to me, the thing that I get out of this is if you want to get this guy back, why do you continue to throw him underneath the bus by saying this situation has divided the fan base? Those are harsh words there, buddy.
Well, isn't that the truth though?
To a certain degree, but do you really say that in a fan response so that can get out? Because that's going to get out. And if it does get out, then basically you're making Rodgers even more angrier than he already was, because we know how sensitive Rodgers is. So it doesn't make sense by the Packers to do that. It's like poking the bear.
I get what you're saying, but if again, the fan base is divided. There's a faction that are saying, "Hey, we're with Rodgers no matter what. What are the Packers doing?" And then there's another faction that have legitimate points to say, "You know what, Aaron? We've done a lot of things for you, bro. How about you play better in the biggest moments? You've not played really well in the NFC Championship games in your career. Say what you want, but Aaron Rodgers refuses to ever come out and say, you know what? I played bad today, and that's why we lost to Tom Brady. Or I played bad, that's why we lost to the San Francisco 49ers. He's got to take some heat for his play as well. For everything to always be the management's fault and the franchise's fault is absurd to me.
Yeah, look, you definitely got a point, but I keep on going back to the Rodgers and Brady comparison, how, once again, the red carpet was rolled out for Brady, how Brady is asked to recruit wide receivers. The Packers are not doing that. And furthermore, you've heard rumors of, either Murphy or also Brian Gutekunst being fired. He goes on to say, I must tell you that I have tremendous confidence in Brian and his relative short tenure as our GM. He has completely turned around the fortunes of our team. He has put together a talented team. Last year, we had the most players voted to the Pro Bowl that had a 28-8 record over the last 2 years after consecutive losing seasons in 2017 and 18. So,
Peter, let me give you a scenario here, Peter. Real simple.
Yeah.
The only thing that has to happen for us to have clarity on the Aaron Rodgers situation, all Aaron Rodgers has to do is come out and say, you know what? I'm never playing for the Packers again, ever, under any circumstance. Trade me. Has he ever come out and said and demanded a trade? He hasn't.
No.
He likes to talk in ambiguity. He likes to always have the leverage on his side by not saying what he means. Say what you mean, Aaron. If there's no chance of you coming back to this organization, because they're not firing Gutekunst and Mark Murphy. Say what you want. I mean, we all think it's, yeah. That ain't happening. Green Bay's not doing that without an owner. They're not doing that. No. He doesn't deserve to be fired.
Well, Gutekunst, look, I think at the end of the day, if it comes down to keeping Aaron Rodgers or getting rid of those guys, I think you got to get rid of those guys because I think the majority of the success for the Green Bay Packers, say whatever you want to about him playing in big games, is because of Rodgers. So if it comes down to that, but like you said, the difficult situation is you basically have no ownership. Once again, going back to the first point, why in the world do you say the fan base is divided? Because you're basically putting it out there on Rodgers once again. It's
now if Green Bay turned around and said, "Hey, we're going to fine Aaron Rodgers the $93,000 for missing the minicamp," that would be stupidity because they're not going to do that. Right. I mean, that would be dumb to do that because it's a mandatory minicamp, and by NFLPA standards and league rules, you can be fined up to $93,000 for missing that. If they were to do something like that, then yeah, that would be suicide for the Packer organization, and that would be terrible, and that would just be moronic. But they're not going to do that. But they do. But they don't have any control of come training camp time. That they don't have any control of waiving. It's a $50,000 per day fine if you hold out a training camp with a contract. That's not an organizational decision. That's a league-wide mandate. The Packers have no ability to waive that $50,000 fine per day. So he's going to incur $50,000 a day if he doesn't show up to training camp.
Well, this situation could get uglier and uglier by the minute, by the day, by the month. Who knows? We will definitely monitor here on the Sports Web live on I Love St. Pete and the Notoriety Sports Network. Let's finish out with this. Deshaun Watson, of course, requested a trade from the Texans some months ago, and then all these allegations came out, and over 20 women with the situation. Now there's talk of basically having some type of settlement, and it comes out from Kareem Jackson on his podcast. I've got a great relationship with Deshaun, who plays for the Broncos, told former Aqib Talib on the Catch and Fades podcast. I've been talking to him the last couple of weeks, and this is Aqib Talib. This is his podcast. I've been talking to him the last couple of weeks, man, and like all he's been telling me is like just tell them like that's where I want to be. He's like, I want to be in Denver. Is this a non-story? Whether he wants to be in Denver or Miami or whatever, it comes down to the National Football League. Whether he settles or not, they're going to suspend him for a major amount of games. In fact, I'm willing to bet it's more than 8 games. What do you say? Is this a non-story? Who cares if Watson wants Denver? And then with that being said, does Houston just hold on to him any way it goes, whether they want to trade him or not? Because his value right now is terrible. There's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Houston's not trading him because you're right. And no team is going to trade for him until they know what the situation is with the criminal aspect of these lawsuits as well as the civil. Teams aren't going to give up 2 first-round draft picks and players or whatever the number ends up being for that guy because of not knowing what the final adjudication is going to be in the criminal system. Because this guy could be going to federal prison. He could be going to jail for the next 25 years if he's criminally charged with something and is guilty of sexual assault or whatever the charge might be. So no, to me, you make a great point. It's a non-starter. Sure, I want to go to this team or that team, but until this stuff gets adjudicated, he ain't going nowhere.
All right, so his contract, how it works out, we'll get out to the comment here from Nicholas Alvarez, who runs NSN Houston, who gives us the latest. Watson is scheduled to make $10.5 million in 2021 on the 5th-year option of his rookie contract. Because of the contract extension he signed in September 2020, Watson's salary jumps to $35 million in 2022. With everything sorted out, who knows what the NFL is going to do? If he comes out in 2022 with that salary, first and foremost, do you think there's a team that will trade for him with the red flags off the field? And then furthermore, with that $35 million contract, which is an albatross right now, do you think Houston can even trade him? Does somebody take on that contract?
Somebody would take on the contract. The question's going to be what comes of all these lawsuits. Now, if he settles with 10 or 15 different women, that's not going to be a good look for Deshaun Watson. That's basically showing some guilt. If he gets accused and gets tried for something and charged with something criminally, that's going to be I'm with you. He's not going to he's going to be suspended a minimum of 8 games for this coming up year. It's, to me, everything, his trade value, his ability to play is all going to be based on what happens in the next 6 months as far as criminally versus the civil lawsuits. If he settles all these civil lawsuits, he's going to get suspended and he's going to have a major problem on his hands. He better hope to God these lawsuits go away and that these women either retract what they're saying or whatever, or he goes to trial and is exonerated, because if he goes to trial and is convicted of something, he's going to jail, first of all. And if he settles all these lawsuits, he's going to get suspended severely by the NFL, and it's going to be a tough circumstance for a team to trade for that guy. And like you said, pay him $35 million starting in 2022.
All right, let's go out to Nicholas Alvarez here. Read this comment. Texans, just trade him, please. Us fans in Houston are done with this soap opera. And Christopher Cole says, Rodgers needs to man up and say exactly what he wants. Just what our guy, Jason Powers, said. Tell you what, buddy, go ahead and promote yourself there. I don't know if you're looking at the camera. You got to look at the camera, my friend. You got to look. There you are. There you go.
Okay, my screen is frozen on mine. I thought we were just talking audio. My bad.
There you go, my friend. Go ahead and promote, once again, your podcast here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Go.
The Powers on Sports podcast. All your podcast platforms, Google, Stitcher, Apple, Spotify. You know, we talk sports stuff of the day. We interview players, coaches, professional athletes. We interview guys like Peter, radio hosts, media people. We like to get a wide range of topics we talk about. You know, I hit on the Roger Federer situation at the French Open, him withdrawing. I didn't like that. I hit on the NFL or NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. Peter, we got to talk about the local team, USF's in the Super Regionals of the College World Series.
Playoffs?
Your thoughts?
You kidding me?
To tell you the truth, I hope they do well, but I haven't watched them. I've been so focused on the Bucks and so focused on the Lightning. Let's go ahead and switch gears really quick. Just right there, the Tampa Bay Lightning. How do you see this matchup working out versus the New York Islanders? Of course, it starts game 1 on Sunday at 3:00. What do you see?
I'm in a major dilemma here because the Islanders were the team of my youth. Before the Lightning were in existence, the Islanders were my favorite team to watch. You know, I remember 1987, Pat LaFontaine scores in like the 7th overtime against Washington in the playoffs, the dynasty of the 80s for the Islanders when I was a young man. So that's my team, but I'm a Lightning fan at heart. Now that we have the Lightning, it's going to be a very competitive series because say what you want about the Islanders, they're not the most skilled team, but they are very gritty. They are gutty. They've got great goaltending going on right now. I think it's going to be a really good series. I definitely still favor the Lightning, obviously with Vasilevsky in the nets, the offensive firepower. But it's going to be This is going to be probably at least a 5 or 6 game series, and it wouldn't shock me if this series went the distance.
And I'll tell you right now, it went 6 last year, and of course the Lightning moved on versus the Islanders in the semifinals to move on and win the Stanley Cup. They win the game 6 in overtime. So I would expect it to go 6 or 7 games. But the way this team is playing right now, offensively, especially on the power play, it has been tremendous. And look, I know you grew up as an Islanders fan, but this has to absolutely freak out the Islanders, even though they're one of the least penalized teams. And that's the key to the series. If they can stay out of the box, then that could be definitely a big time key to these games, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even in the Carolina series, Carolina was neck and neck with us when it was 5-on-5. It's when it became the power play situation is when we really crushed Carolina in the second round. And the Islanders, say what you want, they played great against Boston. I mean, not many people thought they were going to beat the Boston Bruins. I mean, for them to do what they did to Boston, they won a couple of overtime games. They played very well on the power. They have a very good power play themselves. They scored at least 2 or if not 3 power play goals in game 6 against Boston a couple nights ago. They've got a very good power play, and they're very solid. Barry Trotz is one hell of a coach. He's had great success with the Washington Capitals, back in his days with Nashville, and he's done a great job building that roster on Long Island.
Oh, absolutely. And there's storylines all over the place, especially with Trotz. This is the third time that Cooper and Trotz are meeting up in a semifinal. Good stuff, Jason Powers, the Power Man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
For coming on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television live here on I Love St. Pete and the Notoriety Sports Network. All right, boss?
You got it, Pete. We'll see you next time, man. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. There you go. So, man, we got one more comment from Shaq Barrett about, what he's going to do this year here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, so we'll go ahead and get out to that, and then we'll see if there's any phone calls. And if not, I'm going to wrap it up for the night here on the Evolution. In fact, this is our own Leo Haggerty talking to him about the impact of having a Suh and a Vea in the middle and what it does for those outside pass rushers, namely a Barrett. Here we go.
It's a pleasure to know that I got them two big guys inside who do get the double teams and still win the double teams and still able to make plays off the double team. So it frees me up to be able to play free and be able to do moves that I know I've been setting up that's going to be able to work. So, I mean, I'm happy to be here. That's why I didn't want to leave. I know we have a great group of guys. I know, like, everybody from top to bottom, what they're going to bring to the table and that they're eager to get the opportunity to bring it to the table. So just everything was perfect here. That's why I didn't want to leave, man. I know my success is personal. Numbers is personal, but it's a lot more than just personal. There's a lot of aspects that's gone to me being a successful football player, and the Buccaneers have a lot of them aspects here.
All right, there you go. So Leo asked him that, and you could see how excited he is to have that new contract and be around those big hosses, as my uncle would say. And Ndamukong Suh and a Vita Vea, who made all the difference for that defensive line last year. And do we call Shaq a shark now? Did you see that necklace? Is he a shark? Is that Shaq the Shark? Boy, I tell you right now, did you see him in the postseason? I mean, you could put the Jaws theme to him chasing Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. Just a beautiful thing with Vea back in that defensive line. How much of an impact that line was in that postseason. How they disposed of those top quarterbacks in a Drew Brees, in an Aaron Rodgers, in a Patrick Mahomes. Why? Pressure. Apply it or feel it. Those quarterbacks felt it because the Bucs defense was applying it. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Want to read this right now? This came on the wire about 2 hours ago. The Pro Football Writers of America has selected the Tampa Bay Buccaneers public relations staff as the 2021 winner of the Pete Rozelle Award. The Bucs were lauded for dealings with the media during a Super Bowl season that included the addition of high-profile free agent Tom Brady. Get back to that moment. Let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but they're playing music in the background, so that's not going to work. So we're going to continue to read this, and then we'll get off. The Buccaneers PR staff, the 32nd Rozelle Award winner, earned the award for the third time in franchise history. They also won in 98 and in 2003. The other nominees for this award, Broncos, Patriots, Steelers, and Titans. So congratulations. You also learn out of this, and I never knew this, Rozelle, why he was so tough. First, he started out in his career with sports PR roles as a student at both Compton, California. That's tough. You look at that. There's a reason why he went head to head with an Al Davis. And of course, he wanted to keep Oakland Raiders in Oakland. Well, we know why now. And then the University of San Francisco. Of course, the 2020 season, the Buccaneers PR staff consisted of Nelson Louise, Vice President of Communications, who I've met a couple times, who has always been gracious to me. In fact, I remember a story. I'm in the press box. My guy, Rick Brown, Mr. Buzz, more buzz than the Charlotte Hornets, goes up to Nelson and goes, here's my guy who has a radio show, and it's the only one on Saturday afternoons on the FM dial at this time. Can you get on the field? And Nelson allows me to do it. And I'm able to go and cover the Bucks for the radio station in Clearwater. Michael Pennick, Director of Communications, Chris King, Senior Manager of Communications, Andrew Holman, Communications Coordinator, Danielle Burns, Communications Coordinator, and intern Jake Spitz, also assisting the Bucks. So congratulations to not only this organization for being the world champion, Super Bowl champions in 2020, but their PR staff helping the media out, going that extra mile. So good stuff there. Pete Rozelle Award winners. Great job, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, from top to bottom. I don't care what you have to say about the Glazers. The Glazers have done everything correctly the last couple years. They really have. Not that they did a bad job before, because this team tries. This ownership tries. The hiring of Bruce Arians, it's from top to bottom. It's a model organization. Guys, thanks to all the guests here. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneer Ricky Reynolds, of course, my Lightning insider, Mr. Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, and the Power Man himself, Mr. Jason Powers, Powers on Sports podcast. We'll be back on Monday night here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television live on I Love St. Pete, and of course, the Notoriety Sports Network. You guys have a great weekend, and do 3 things for me as I've become notorious for saying it. You ready? Say it with me. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Have a great night.
Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
Notoriety Sports Network. Breaking news, live shows, unprecedented content. Notoriety Sports Network. Built different.
I'm passing the phone to my guy, a guy who thinks he's a Instagram model / influencer. Also thinks he could be a pro hooper, but can't really hoop at all.
I'm passing the phone to somebody that can't catch a cold, let alone a football, and they wear a do-rag every day with no results and no waves.
So I'm passing the phone to a guy who thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread and won't stop talking for anything.
I want to pass to the person that's been with the Bucks forever. I want to pass to the person that always try to make me do all his stuff. He always want to make me do all the reps. Y'all know who it is.
I'm passing the phone to somebody who got the biggest head in the universe.
I'm passing the phone to the man with the most jewelry on the team.
I'm passing the phone to someone who, although he's one of the greatest football players of all time, he may be one of the great dancers of all time and possibly one of the greatest singers of all time.
Hey guys, thank you for the nomination. That's why I was on The Masked Singer, because I got secret dance moves and secret singing skills. Or stop, collaborate, and listen. Refugees back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will ever stop, yo? I don't know. Turn off the lights up and I'll glow to the extreme. I rock a mic like a vandal, light up a stage and watch it jump like a candle. Dance. Rush a speaker that booms, I'm killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom. Thank you guys. See you later.